Hey, it's Kish,
And it's Roland here.
and we're from Porygon Tube, and we're bringing you the top 8 from the Bendigo League Cup in Victoria, Australia. In this round, we'll be featuring Chris on the left, playing his spicy Mega Rayquaza deck, versus Ben on the right, playing Decidueye Vileplume, the rainbow version. So, we featured Chris in one of the earlier rounds. That was a pretty quick round. Hopefully, this game will be a bit better. Roland, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, well, Chris's deck is very vulnerable to Trainer Lock. That's the first thing to make note of. Mega Ray is a Pokemon that could not get anything in Decidueye. You know, it can actually do 240 damage. But of course, when it gets Trainer Locked, and say Skyfield gets countered, it's going to be very difficult to Chris to actually get out 8 bench Pokemon again. So even though Mega Ray can sort of overrun Decidueye in the early turns, Decidueye can definitely come back. And we also see some techs from Ben like Regice, which I think actually... I don't know if Chris has an answer to that. I'm just thinking. I think a Resistance Blizzard may be unbeatable.
Yeah.
With Vileplume, I think
so.
could potentially be unbeatable. So yeah, we'll see if that eventuates, because that is a tech that Ben plays. Because with the Rainbow Energy, you can use obviously any type, and Regice is a water Pokemon, so the normal sort of grass list wouldn't be able to play those cards. So yeah, so it's going to be interesting. So Chris is going to need to get up to a fast start, and it's big as to who goes first. So Chris goes first here. If Ben were to go first and he were to get out a Vileplume on the first turn, I mean, that's actually probably game over there. So, I'm talking about, Vileplume like later on, but on the first, few turns, that can be where it has the biggest impact as well. So Chris is going to be able to get his setup here. That doesn't mean that if Chris gets a great setup, he necessarily wins, but at least he's going to be able to at least get set up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other crucial thing for me would be whether Chris can find Hex Maniacs on crucial turns to shut off the item lock and also Decidueye's sniping. So...
yeah, the problem is that,
they'll allow him to recycle supporters like Lysander and things with VS Seekers, so it's possible. Like, he has outs to win. Item lock is pretty strong against Mega Ray, but we'll have to wait and see if he can find those cards at the right time.
Yeah, the issue is also that, say for instance, if your Skyfield gets countered, so ideally what you want to do against most decks is play Skyfield, then put down a Dragonite, get 2 Pokemon back. But the problem here is that if you Hex Maniac in order to break Trainer Lock, so you can Ultra Ball for your Dragonite or whatever, you then can't actually use any of your abilities, which makes it hard for you to get back the Pokemon which you need to fill your bench back up to 8. That's Mega Ray's issue in this matchup.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of its issues. Another issue is all these big high retreat Pokemon on the bench.
Yeah.
That's also something that's a problem.
Yeah. And I'm fairly sure Chris runs Puzzle of Time, does he?
No, he doesn't play Puzzle of Time.
He doesn't play Puzzle of Time. That would be pretty crucial if he...
No, he's very streamlined, very quick. Puzzles, not a card that he plays.
All right,
so he's got a Sycamore here, so the turn is nowhere near being over. Rule of thumb, if you think it's over, it's not over. So it doesn't draw an energy, but he has so many outs here. He's got, just so many. And again, because also he can use Drive Change for Genesect, so he can put that Floatstone on the unknown if he needs it. So, that's why he put it on the Genesect, obviously. So he's got unknowns, he's got shamans, he's got everything to get the energy that he needs. So he could put on a lot of pressure on the second turn. Yeah.
And Mega Ray is still a deck that can still sort of steamroll you just doing 150 a turn if he wasn't able to.
Yeah, true, exactly. So it's not, you're right. It's not 100% necessary to get that Skyfield all the time. So, but generally, that's not a favourable trade. If you're only 2KOing Decidueye, like generally that's not great, but you can still close out a game that way.
All right. So Chris really burning through his items here, getting max value while he can, and just deciding whether or not to discard that VS Seeker, and he does decide to do that. So what will he go for here?
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's getting anything actually.
He fails it.
Interesting. So would have thought that if he had, say, an unknown in the deck, he might play that, but he could be keeping his bench spots open for a number of other things. It's pretty intricate. You might have surprised. So he's got a
shaman. So maybe just thinning out.
So his bench is his bench is filled up to. I'm assuming that shaman is on the bench. The one that still is discards. Okay, so he had no bench spots. So that answers the question pretty easily.
So he does get a Mega Ray powered up turn 1. And maxed out his bench. So this is what we said. He can start steamrolling if Ben isn't able to get off to a quick start, which can happen with Decidueye.
Yeah, it's not just, a law of nature that you're going to get Forest of Giant Plants and, 3 stage 2s into play in the first turn. Like, that can happen sometimes, but it's not always going to happen. You might never get that Forest, for instance.
All right. So Ben, after sitting there and watching Chris just go absolutely nuts, has his turn to do the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Both these decks kind of solitaire their first turns, playing out a bunch of items, supporters, shamans, whatnot. So Ben does find a double colorless for his Lugia. He has to discard a Rowlet and a Decidueye. Not crucial, he can revitalize those later if he needs to. So
yeah, so probably going to grab, well, yeah, probably either a... So what are you discarding? Sorry, you discarded Decidueye.
A Rowlet and a Decidueye.
Oh, Rowlet, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So he must have very good cards in his hand.
Yeah.
Or the last remaining cards in his hand must be pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're going to discard a basic Pokemon
Yeah.
that you absolutely need to put down right now, yeah. But yeah, so, and smart of Chris, obviously, just to keep the unknown there, so Lugia can't do anything to it, because obviously then you could just farewell later on the following turn, so... Yeah, not going to put his Mega Ray in danger.
Okay, so we see a Trainer's Mail here. Finds a forest, that's big. That's usually
that's huge. Interesting that decided to Ultra Ball before Trainer's Mailing. That's an interesting decision. I would have probably Trainer's Mailed first in case you didn't get anything good off the Trainer's Mail, so you could grab a not as useful card off the Trainer's Mail, so you could discard that instead of the Rowlet, because the Rowlet is obviously something that you really want.
Yeah.
In this case, you prefer Forest over Rowlet, but that's you could have known that ahead of time. Yeah. But well, aside from the fact that you are thinning.
Okay, so
if you want to yeah. Anyway,
so the stadium gets countered, and Chris gets to bump all his heavy retreaters. So there's nothing that's really going to get stuck active.
Oh, he had another Rowlet. Oh.
Yeah. He did have another Rowlet. Yeah. So finds a Gloom. What does he have?
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Level Ball. So we'll be able to get a Dartrix into play. So Ben's still yet to play a supporter. He does have a Lysander in hand. I'm not too sure where his other cards are. Looks like he might have a Sycamore. Just debating what to play.
Yeah, there are some pretty difficult decisions on the first turn for this deck. Everything matters.
Yeah.
Hopefully he has something.
He does.
Yeah, so he does have a Sycamore in his hand. So I think he's debating as to whether, possibly as to whether he wants to put down Vileplume. I think that's actually his decision here, because the problem is if you put down Vileplume, and then I assume that's his decision.
He's got two Lysanders in hand. So
yeah,
he will have to Hollow Hunt back Lysanders if he wants access to them.
Okay, so he actually chooses to play the Lysander there. That's interesting. So he's going to get a hit in for 100 damage on this Mega Ray. Yeah, interesting decision for sure. The problem is that this sets him up to get knocked out because he doesn't have Vileplume, quite simply. And Chris, is basically guaranteed a knockout here because he has that Skyfield. So yeah, I mean, a pretty risky play, I suppose, from Ben. He didn't know that Chris had that Skyfield, so there was a chance that Chris wasn't able to get it out. But that's not really a good look for him at this point.
No.
And now, what's he going to be able to do? I mean, he doesn't have any energy on board, so on the following turn, he's probably only going to be able to Hollow Hunt. I mean, he can absolutely find his way back into the game because Decidueye Vileplume's a pretty resilient deck, but I probably would have liked to see a Sycamore there, but I mean, it's always tough.
Okay, so Chris gets the easy KO on the Lugia, only needing 6 bench Pokemon for their 180.
And not playing any more bench Pokemon than he needs to. Yeah. So when or if it does get counted, he only has to discard 1 Pokemon.
Okay, so top deck's a Decidueye, so he will be getting some Feather Arrows off this turn. And
yeah, good draw. So interesting, promotes the Shaman instead of the Decidueye, so perhaps anticipating possibly using Sky Return, maybe.
Problem is, what does it go into?
Yeah, exactly. And then what does he do after that? Because then he would have no energy on board. So yeah, so I mean, doesn't want to risk putting up the Decidueye. So because if he doesn't draw a Forest of Giant Plants to counter the Skyfield, then he runs risk of getting carried. But that might be his best option at this point. But we'll see. Yeah, he can still draw Floatstone to retreat, so he's not necessarily locked into this.
Okay, so he finds a Rowlet and a Dartrix. He does have a Vileplume in hand, so the item lock would be coming down this turn for sure.
Yeah, and Chris would have been really happy not to see that on the first turn.
Yeah. Okay, so he finds a forest, Ultra Ball. Those are his options off the trainer's mail. Probably just take the forest, I would imagine.
Yeah, it depends on what he has. I mean, I think he has a forest in his hand already, so it's interesting in these situations where you already have a stadium and you're not sure whether to take another of the same stadium, because if your opponent counters it, then you would have wanted to take it. But if your opponent doesn't counter it, you actually would not have wanted to take it in case you're forced to Sycamore. So it's like, in terms of winning the stadium war, sometimes you don't want to take an extra stadium. So yeah, it's actually sort of a tough decision that comes in with these stadium-focused decks.
Yeah, he doesn't actually have a supporter for next turn, but he does find one off the train as well.
Yeah.
So grabs the in. So Chris will be getting down to 2 next turn, possibly. I don't think Ben found an energy to move the Shaman, or a Floatstone for that matter.
So you didn't even find a grass? No,
he didn't find anything.
Gee, yeah, that's really disappointing for him. That's a tough draw there.
Yeah.
And the thing is here is that, okay, he can counter Skyfield, but that Shaman's getting KO'd regardless.
Yeah.
Whereas if the Decidueye was active, he'd at least have a shot of... actually probably have a very good shot of surviving, but with Shaman active, it's basically a sitting duck. So...
Wow. So just a Feather Arrow onto the active, putting the Ray up to 120, and forced to just pass there. So Chris is in a pretty nice spot.
Yeah, and Chris is aware that he's going to get end on the following turn, but see, this is where Decidueye can make these comebacks, right? You can't play items, you're getting end to 2 cards, and you can just draw complete. You can just draw absolutely nothing. Yeah. He does have a Lysander, so he can opt to hit something that isn't the Shaman. So then that can do a few things that could perhaps make him win the board state a bit more, and also make it so that he doesn't get in. But okay, so he just takes a knockout there, nothing fancy. Yeah. And he's down to 2 prizes.
Okay. So Ben's got a decision here. Just trying to think, is it possible for him to knock out that Mega Ray this turn?
No, because he doesn't have any. Yeah, he doesn't have any energy in play. So, and he only plays 1 Lugia, so.
Well, does Swift hit for weakness?
No.
No, it doesn't. So, yeah.
I don't believe it does, but I could be wrong. Maybe it does. Maybe it does.
It goes through all effects.
So. Yeah, it does. So I think it's interesting. Some cards are weird in that they go through other effects, but weakness still. It's weird, but I think generally those sort of effects don't count weakness. Okay. But okay, so I think he's sort of just resigning himself to not be able to attack this turn, and so this Jolteon has just got the extra 10 HP that's just crucial in surviving. But actually, interesting. Retreats to Vileplume.
Yeah. So
that's not necessarily a bad decision by any means, because if he has, say, a Revitalizer in his hand, it means he can just get it back.
Yeah.
And Chris going down to 1 prize, there's no difference between 1 and 2. I mean, if anything, it's beneficial to you because your ends are more powerful. So depending on what he has in his hand, that's the right play for sure.
Definitely.
But if you obviously that relies on him having Revitalizers. If you don't have Revitalizers, it's a huge risk.
Yeah. No, he does have Revitalizer.
He does, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So he knows what's coming.
Yeah. So Chris doesn't have a Skyfield to counter the forest. He does have a Hex Maniac.
Oh, interesting. Has the Hex, yeah. So what other items does he have in his hand? Well, we'll see. We'll see after he plays this. Okay, so it doesn't actually have any other. Oh, it takes the Skyfield off the prizes. That could be very big. But yeah, so it goes down to 1 prize, but the game is by no means over.
No. Although, from Chris's point of view, he's got 2 Mega Rays going. I guess this one's going to go down, thanks to a Razor Leaf.
Yeah, so okay, it'll get knocked out from Razor Leaf.
Yeah.
And then he'll be able to Emerald Break for at least 120 damage. So he'll be able to sort of 2k this Decidueye. The only thing is if something gets trapped active, like Hooper potentially, but all Chris has to find is a Hex Maniac, because then he can use Drive Change. He can use Drive Change first from Genesect, Hex Maniac, put the Floatstone on the new Pokemon. So, but I mean, fighting Hex Maniac is going to be pretty difficult because he's already played one. So
yeah.
So something could get that Hooper could get trapped active, but of course if he's getting Lysander, he's not getting N. So it would be a risk, and also Ben's played, I think, both of his Lysander already.
Yeah.
Or he was forced to discard them.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Was it just one? Or
no, he had to discard. He played one to get the
and then he had to discard. That's right. Yeah, so he had
yeah.
to discard both. Right, so that's huge. So he's not going to be able to. Chris doesn't necessarily know that he only plays 2 Lysander because some lists play 3, but Ben obviously knows that unless he hollow hunts, he's not going to have access to Lysander for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, he's just got to go for that gambit of a hollow hunt for Lysanders. Not even knocking out this active, and then just try and trap a Hooper active. Like, I think that's the only way he can still win.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he's just going to lose this trade back and forth. Unless Regice could be the only thing that... But we haven't seen that come out. Perhaps it's prized.
Possibly prized. And we've only seen one Shaman from Ben so far. His list does only run 2. Usually, the usual count's about 3 in case one gets prized, then you have access to 2 Shamans to draw. So we've only seen one Shaman, so maybe one Shaman's prized, maybe the Regice is prized. But we'll see if he can make the 6-1 comeback. He does get a Decidueye line down, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And the Vileplume.
Yeah. Gets the Vileplume, which he really, really needed.
Yeah.
So he really dodged the bullet there.
So, and he ended Chris down to 1 as well, which was critical.
Okay, so we did Razor Leaf here. I just think that this is checkmate because I just think that Chris, even if he doesn't draw anything, if he just, what's going on?
Chris is playing a Hooper.
Oh right, gotcha.
So he's searching his deck. He's got 3 Dragonites in there.
If he has the Skyfield, he wins the game. So I mean, I'm guessing unless he's just slow rolling, he doesn't actually have it in his hand. So, but the thing is, he can just Emerald break the active, and then what does Ben do?
Well, Ben can retreat into another Decidueye.
I suppose, okay, he can retreat, yeah, so that is something he can do, but so I suppose, that's relatively equivalent to just having Hollow Hunted the previous turn. Like, he'd have to retreat in Hollow Hunt, but I think he would have been better off just Hollow Hunting this turn, but look, there could be advantages to doing it this way.
Alright, so Chris does Emerald break for 150.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, the advantages of taking the Razor Leaf knockout when you can is you get rid of 1 Mega Ray, so you're not Lysandering up something on the bench, and then you have to knock out, like, 2 big threats with Feather Arrows.
Ben wanting to play an Ultra Ball there, forgetting his own Vileplume, setting up full items. So he does have Rainbow in hand, so I think his only play here, as we said, is to just retreat and Hollow Hunt.
And that can be sometimes Decidueye's only win condition is just Lysander and hope. And it's not particularly pretty because you're giving your opponent a lot of time to come back because you obviously can't knock out the active Pokemon. So, you can't knock out the active Pokemon with Razor Leaf, unless you can then... So you can't knock out the active Pokemon with Razor Leaf because then they'll just come out and knock you out. Yeah. So you've basically just got to only attack with Feather Arrow. Only put damage on with Feather Arrow. So it's a very slow win condition. Yeah. But, I mean, the Shamans are pretty easy prizes, so, yeah, it's possible.
So he's dropping 40 a turn. His deck's getting pretty small, though, so deck out is also a concern for Ben.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it 100% is. Particularly when you've still got 4 prizes left, so... Oh, we see that Regice, okay.
Yeah, there's a Regice. So, Ben got a Hollow Hunt for probably Lysander, a couple of energy, and start using Regice, I think.
Yeah. He could even sort of... Yeah, he could Resistance Blizzard like a Hooper twice, putting it up to 140, and then he could just get that neat, Feather Arrow knockout on it. Yeah. If it looks like it, could retreat at some point, but...
Yeah, so he decides to Hollow Hunt. He puts 6 damage counters on the Shaman, so that will be in range of a Feather Arrow knockout next turn.
Yes, and the question is, does he want to get just 1 Lysander, or does he want to get 2?
Yeah, I think
does he want to get both back?
2 is a safe play, isn't it?
Because the problem is he's also running out of energy, kind of. So if he doesn't get back energy, he's going to struggle to power up Regice, possibly. Yeah, because of course, the Decidueye doesn't have a float zone on it, so if he were to... The only way he could get at Regice is to attach another energy to the Decidueye retreat, and then he's going to attach a Rainbow and a DC at Regice. So, Chris just hits for 150 there, so... But yeah, we could see the comeback here. Chris's deck is relatively large, I think, at this point.
Yep, it is. So we see
and
the
we do see that
Lysander.
Lysander. Yep.
And it's just going to be raining feather arrows from now on, I think.
Yeah, it is a win condition that this deck has.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not super pretty, but it can do it.
Yeah. And the question is, can Chris find a Hex Maniac? I think that's his main out here. Double colorless as well.
Yeah, so I mean, really, yeah, it doesn't actually take that long for Ben to win, I suppose, because he just needs 3 feather arrows on the Shaman, and he can, raise the leaf twice, basically, and win the game. So, yeah, this is absolutely doable.
Yeah, so 2 more turns. Chris is on a 2-turn clock here. Retreats to the Jolteon. Does he have a Floatstone on that?
Oh, maybe he does.
Did he pay? No, I think he paid to retreat.
Oh, sorry, he paid double colors, yeah. Yeah, okay.
So yeah, basically Chris is on a 2-turn clock here.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is, a safe play, because he knows that, that Jolteon has 10 more damage than Mega Ray can do unless there's a Skyfield in play. So he's really committing to this Feather Arrow play.
Chris has a Lysander, but no way to retreat the Hooper.
No.
So he would need to top deck a double colorless next turn.
It's interesting, he can Lysander, he can kind of prolong the game by Lysandering out, say like a Regice, just to stall.
Mm-hmm. So Ben draws his last card. Does he even end? That's not a foregone conclusion.
Interesting. I'm not sure how many energy he has left as well.
He's got 2 double colors.
Oh, he's got 2 double colors. Okay, that's interesting, yeah. So he has to have an end here. I think he's debating how many do I play energy before I end? Because the thing is, if you play too many cards down before you end, then you are still putting yourself on a clock because you've got not as many cards left in your deck. But if you then don't play the cards down, then you just risk not drawing them. So I think he's going to... Yeah, okay.
But I guess he wins next turn anyway. He wins or loses next turn regardless. I don't think there's a way that Chris could get that Shaman off his board.
No. I see. Doesn't. Yeah, the only way that he. Yeah, there really is no way Chris can get rid of that liability, I suppose. Yeah, so the energy doesn't even particularly matter. Yeah.
Yeah. So Chris Sycamore's here. He would need to find a double colorless Skyfield Pokemon would have actually won him the game.
Yeah, but he whiffs, and great comeback from Ben. 6-1 comeback.
Yep.
Decidueye, as we mentioned before, can absolutely make those comebacks. Yeah, just Lysandering out a big retreater is absolutely a win condition for the day.
So wow, what a turnaround! So Ben makes the 6-1 comeback, and Chris so close but so far. What do you think he can do differently in game 2 to perhaps pull it out? Because that same strategy will always be there for Ben no matter what.
Yeah,
just to
and
Lysander up something and Chris Feather Arrow for days.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think like that game went as well for Chris as at the beginning went as well for him as he possibly could have hoped.
Yeah.
He went first. He got his setup out. Ben didn't even get a Vileplume out turn 1. That's something we have to remember.
Yeah.
And Chris got another turn of items. He didn't necessarily make the most use of it, but he wasn't locked from turn 1 even. So he got 2 full turns of items and still wasn't quite able to close it out.
Yeah.
And there is no way of really getting around like, oh, well, you could just, not play a Hooper down. Well, Mega Ray has to put down these liabilities on the bench. There's nothing you can really do.
Absolutely.
To prevent it. So, yeah, it's pretty tough. And then when you're getting end, okay, you might have like 1 or 2 outs in your deck, which you did. Like you had like 1 Hex Maniac left or, 2 DCE left or something like that. Well, you've still got to draw into them when you've got a bunch of items clogging up your deck and you play very few supporter cards. Yeah, tough.
So Chris starts Hooper. He's got another Hooper, Shaman, and an Ultra Ball in hand. So pretty nice hand from him as far as Mega Ray is concerned.
Yep.
So he drops the unknown. Ben again starts with Lugia, which is probably his best starter. Apart from
it's a pretty good starter. Yeah, I mean the only issue is that it gives up 2 prizes, I suppose. But yeah. It is a very good starter.
Okay. So Chris uses Scoundrel Ring with Hooper to grab a Rayquaza, a Genesect, and possibly a Shaman. Oh, he's got a Shaman in hand. So maybe another Ray. Okay, he goes for the Volcanion, which we didn't see last game. Another
No, he discarded
huge
it, yeah.
retreater as well. So, but he does have a Floatstone in hand, so I imagine he'll just drop the Floatstone straight onto the Genesect as he does. Yep. He's going to get rid of the Volcanion. Okay, so he Farewell Letters, gets a Sycamore. Ultra Balls away, Volcanion and Mega Turbo. Probably just to find a Shaman. Or another unknown. Unknown can draw you cards too, I guess.
It can. It absolutely can do the job.
But yeah, I think he does have a Shaman and Sycamore. It's his last 2 cards in hand. And a Mega Ray. Apologies.
Okay, he gets the Spirit Link, so... Oh, and a double color. So this is, again, going to be another strong first turn for Chris.
Yep.
But this is the one deck he can play against, really, that it doesn't necessarily... Not that it doesn't matter, but as we saw before, you know,
yeah,
nothing's guaranteed.
Absolutely. And he doesn't find a Skyfield this time, and he doesn't find a Floatstone either for that Hooper, so that could get stuck. Okay, so Farewell Letters, draws a Rayquaza. So he has the option to Shaman, but he decides to just drop a Rayquaza and a Spirit Link.
Yeah, so I think he's going to, yeah. Obviously, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. That's more important than putting down a Shaman, yeah.
So he's going to have to pay a double colors to retreat next turn if Ben does manage to get the turn 1 Vileplume down.
Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of this turn, he could just drive change, yeah, which is what he's doing. So he can then just put the, yeah, so he doesn't, yeah.
Okay, so very nice from Chris there. Using Genesec's drive change ability to get the Floatstone back. And let's see what Ben can do.
Yeah, so Chris decides not to Sycamore there. So obviously, because saving the double colors in his hand.
Yeah.
So the question is, yeah, if Ben draws a double colors, does he even bother using Aero Ball? That's an interesting thing, or does he just attach to the bench? I think he might just choose to attach to the bench if he has attachments.
There's no real benefit to him attaching to the Lugia, I don't think. It's pretty easily one-hit KO'd. Chris can't exactly Lysander around it too easily, or even snipe the bench. He always has to hit the active, so yeah, so Ben just choosing to power up Regice, which is a very strong attacker in this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely, and that can absolutely be his win condition. Yeah. You know, well, in addition to the win condition we saw last game, this can be... okay, so he really doesn't have much of anything.
He had the option to end there, I think.
Yeah, interesting. Had the end in his hand. That's an interesting decision. I mean, you can absolutely get this Hooper tracked active, but it's probably not that unlikely that Chris just draws the Floatstone.
Yeah. And then you're sort of relying on drawing a double colorless on your next turn to Resistance Blizzard, otherwise that Regice is going to go down. So
yeah. So he's putting himself under a lot of pressure here if Chris can find a Skyfield, but it doesn't look like he does.
Oh, he whiffs, which is massive.
Yeah, and so Chris isn't even going to bother attacking.
Yeah. So there's the double colors. So here comes Resistance Blizzard, provided that Ben can move that Lugia, which again is not a foregone conclusion. And if Ben doesn't manage to move the Lugia, then Chris might have an opportunity to Lysander and knock out that Regice. So there's such fine margins. These games are so fickle. They often come down to just one card at one time.
Yeah, and that can be the difference between getting swept and sweeping your opponent. Very good hand from Chris, I think. So we see a Skyfield, a Hex Maniac. Yeah, some pretty strong cards there.
Yeah. So Ben finds an Oddish. He's got a Gloom in hand. Trainer's Mails and hits 4 Pokemon.
Ouch. He's just deciding which Pokemon he wants to take with Trainers. No, I think the last one's a Lysander.
Lysander. I apologize.
It's not a Pyro, Kish. It's not a Pyro.
Isn't it? Alright, so...
Interesting, yeah, so decides to take it, so potentially give himself, he is giving himself the opportunity to use that. Unfortunately, Lysander's not going to do much unless he gets Vileplume into play. But actually, that's not entirely true. For instance, he could yeah, no, that's interesting, but he probably has an N in his hand for the following turn or something, so he's not going to discard up the Sycamore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we see the Skyfield and yeah, Dragonite putting in work.
Yeah, getting back to unknowns, and I'm sure Chris is looking for a Lysander here.
Yeah.
Gets a Dragonite. So he will be able to use Farewell Letter again if he wants to. Bench the other Dragonite and get back one unknown.
Yeah, if he doesn't get the knockout this turn, well, if he doesn't get a Lysander, he'll choose not to attack because if he attacks, then Regice is guaranteed to come up and Resistance Blizzard him, and he has no outs to that at all in his deck. The thing is, if he doesn't attack, then there's still a chance that Ben can't get that Lugia out of the active spot. So he's digging for his life here.
Yeah, so he can't find the Lysander. He does have a Hex Maniac.
Yeah, so he'll probably just choose to, just to play that and pass. Yeah, which he does. So yeah, Ben, if he finds a double colors or a float zone here, that's the game.
Yeah.
Although he might not necessarily know that because he might think that perhaps Chris plays an out to Regice. Like he might think that Chris, plays a Pokemon Ranger or something like that. We of course know that he doesn't, but yeah, it can always be risky doing the lone Regice play because you don't necessarily know. Oh wow, we see the double colors there, so he has the potential to win this game. Because there's also no way that Chris can get around. He can't escape rope Lysander to hit a Regice to use a Resistance Blizzard. One because of Vileplume, and two because he doesn't play escape rope. But I suppose he could attack with Unknown. He could use Hidden Power for 10 damage, unfortunately, he'll run out of Unknowns before he does even enough damage to do a third of Regice's HP, so,
And painfully for Chris, he finds a Lysander off the end to 6.
Ouch, just taunting him there, so... I mean, and the thing is, even if... Yeah, so, look, Ben just has to not put down enough prizes so that Chris could Lysander 4-6 prizes, basically. So currently he's got 4 free prizes on the on the field, and that's okay. You can do that because of course you want to play just in case your opponent has a way around Regice. So okay, there's no disadvantage to playing that Rowlet down, for instance, because you've only got 4 free prizes here. I wouldn't want to see him Ultra Ball for say a Shaman and put it down because then that would mean he actually has 6 prizes available potentially for Chris, and that actually does give him a win condition.
Okay, so he Ultra Balls a Forest and a Decidueye, which makes me think he will be going for a Shaman.
I don't believe I saw one in his deck.
No, there's not one in deck, so he must have 2 prized, which might actually work out in his favor.
Yeah. I think putting down a Shaman is just a huge risk here. Because Chris, for instance, he could Lysander out of Vileplume, and then once he knocks that out, he could use Versus Seeker for another Lysander, and he could. But I suppose it would rely on him Lysandering 4 times, and I'm not actually sure that his deck has the capability of doing that. But look, you still don't want to put down easy prizes.
Absolutely. I would say he does. It's unlikely, but he probably could if push came to shove. He could Hex Maniac for a few VS Seekers and things. So,
but the problem is he only plays 2 Versus Seekers. So I think if he's played,
true. He does only play 2.
Very unusual list. So I think it probably doesn't even matter if Ben would put down another liability. But just hope that he retreats here. Yep, which he chooses to do.
Yep, and so here we see the unbeatable Resistance Blizzard come down.
Yep. And unless I am massively overlooking something, I'm almost positive that Chris has no after this.
No.
Aside from maybe if he draws both his Lysanders in a row, he could Lysander something out. Ben whiffs away to retreat, and then Lysanders again.
Yep.
That's an extremely low percentage play.
Yeah, but it might be
actually, play. The other thing is also potentially Sky Return looping. But then the problem is that with 2 Decidueye in play, Resistance Blizzard can effectively do 110 damage, so actually that doesn't even work. Well, sorry, and with Feather Arrow, you could just hit the bench anyway, so yeah, I think that this is over.
Yeah, so I wonder what Chris is thinking here. He has to go for that double ice.
Damn it. Why don't I have to play this deck in top 8? That's what he's thinking. He's thinking, yeah, this is why I played VGC.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to deal with this rubbish in VGC.
Okay, so Ben's Ultra Balling. Probably just going to get Vileplume, I imagine. Could also go for a Rowlet here, because he has a Revitalizer, and that's what he does do.
Yep.
So
yeah, would like to see him get out of Vileplume at some point, obviously, and I think that's what we'll see here. Yeah, because he did have one in the discard. Yeah. Yeah. Revitalize is such a clutch card.
Yeah. Yep, so I think that's the perfect lock now.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, unless, I mean, a Lysander on that Vileplume, possibly.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, because Chris does have, I think, because he hasn't discarded one yet, so if he can just draw into both his, as in, he's discarded one already.
No, he's got one in hand. He's holding it.
Yeah, so if he could, yeah, so as I mentioned before, if he get the 2 Lysanders, now if he can Lysander at that Vileplume, Ben kind of, Floatstone's not an out to retreat here. Okay, Chris says, not looking too happy about this. But, hey, there is still hope, okay? There is still hope. There is still a mathematical possibility of this. So, yeah, if he can Lysander at Vileplume and then just draw into a second Lysander, again, it would have to not be prized.
Yeah.
Okay, you can buy himself some time here with Sky Return. Like, that's not terrible.
No, definitely not.
Not going to do any damage or anything, but hey, we'll take it. So, yeah, if he's going to, if he draws into both Lysanders in consecutive turns, he could pull this out.
Yeah, so...
I mean, even then, that's still not a good situation because he's playing 2 Lysanders for 1 prize on Regice, and then just the regular Decidueye Lugia Vileplume strategy can win it. Yeah, so we see him scoop there.
Yeah, so Chris scoops it up, cannot get past that Resistance Blizzard, and Ben, that Regice pays dividends massively there. So that 1 card inclusion.
Yeah, very good tech.
Yeah,
huge tech there.
So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this game.
Yeah, well played to both players.
Well played to both players, and congratulations to both players for making it to top 8. Ben moves on to top 4, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next round. I'm not certain that we have the top 4 video. I think there was a problem with the recording, so if we don't have that, then we'll have the finals coming at you soon. Alright, cheers guys, bye.
Well, that was actually pretty quick, so... Well, I think it was quick. Yeah, that was relatively quick. Oh, okay. Oh, time flies by when... Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that matchup's actually, like, ridiculously bad. Oh, I didn't realize how bad that matchup would be. That's horrid. Yeah, same, yeah. Got actually rolled. So, wait, who makes it to finals? Oh, yeah. Oh, that'll be interesting. So, what does Samir's raid list look like? Ah, okay. Oh, spoilers, mate. Spoilers. I actually totally forgotten who won. Well, I think I did know at some point, but... I'll check the Porygon Tube account. No, we absolutely have to do the Bling deck, and we'll just use Troll and Toad prices as our guide. Yes. Oh, the potato internet. That's so shit. It just, it was procrastinating. It could just never get started. Oh, what a piece of absolute shit. Alright, Oranguru. What the hell is this? He doesn't even play he doesn't even play Volcanion and he plays Fire Energy. What? Oh yeah, true. No, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Mate, you gotta play Psychic so you can attack with Hooper. The Hyperspace Fury. Interesting list. Okay, so what? He plays... Gee, Puzzle of Time and Brock's Grid. That's an interesting... Yeah, that's a weird list. But hey... Olympia. Oh, Olympia, what is this shit? 2 Floatstone. Only 2 Floatstone. Oh, boy. Well... I don't know. Oh, God. Well... Rip Mega Ray. Well, I suppose it could still say Fringe play, but it's how funny is this now? Mega Gotti now beats Mega Ray because it just plays Sudowoodo. Like how funny is that? Like Mega Gotti actually wins now. It just took 1 card. Just took 1 card. Yeah, it's nuts. What a time to be alive. So wait, is the final particularly quick? Do you know? We could possibly. I mean, we could finish it if it was quick, but I probably can't really do a whole like another hour. All right, we'll finish this off. I could do tomorrow evening actually. I think tomorrow evening I could do. If you want to do that, lock it in. Finish it off tomorrow evening. Awesome. Then we'll have it all done. Then we can finish that like pre-IC LC, the Bendigo one. Like. So much motivation to finish it, yeah. Actually, that makes me more motivated, honestly, because at least it's something different. But, alright. Sounds good. Have a good one. Oh, yeah. I actually forgot to stop it, so it's going to have a lot of extra shit on the end. It's only 42, actually, so yeah, that was pretty quick. Alright, I will stop.